So we are going to, that's how we run Dharma discourse, is we read the chapter that we are going to teach or to study together tonight. So tonight we're going to read from page 124. Sorry, no, sorry, no. 121, how to be united in future lives. So it will be a little bit long. It will be all the way to 124. The first couple of little paragraphs, it ends with the Anguttara chapter 759. Okay, so before the subchapter 3 starts. Okay, 121, page 121, all the way to the top two little paragraphs on 124. If you do not have a book, and I will read and see how much you can hear, okay? So let us start by paying respect first. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. How to be united in future lives. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling among the Bhaga people near Sumamargiri in the deer park of the Visakala Grove. One morning, the Blessed One dressed, took his upper robe and bowl, and went to the dwelling of the householder Nakula Pitta. Having arrived there, he sat down on the seat prepared for him. Then the householder Nakula Pitta and the housewife Nakula Lamata approached the Blessed One and, after paying homage to him, sat down to one side. So seated, the householder Nakula Pitta said to the Blessed One, "Venerable Sir, ever since the young housewife Nakula Mata was brought home to me when I too was still young, I am not aware of having wronged her even in my thoughts, still less in my deeds. Our wish is to be in one another's sight so long as this life lasts and in the future life as well." Okay, so you done reading? So this is the chapter of the happiness visible in this present life. Of course, this whole chapter actually is aiming to teach the householders. Yeah, the householders. So for page 121 is the happiness visible in this present life. And in this subchapter is called how to be united in future lives. So there is this Nakula Pitta and his wife Nakula Mata. So these two went to ask questions to the Buddha. And the man asked first. The man said, "Wise one, ever since this young housewife," that means his wife, Nakula Mata, actually married into my home, I haven't done anything wrong, he said. Ever since I brought her home, not having wronged her even in his thoughts, let alone his deeds. This is what Nakula Pitta, as a husband, have done to his wife Nakula Mata. And he said, our wish is to be in one another's life, one another's sight, so long as this life lasts and into the future life. So you can see Nakula Pitta and Nakula Mata are really deep enough with each other. And they, why are you all blushed?
We read this
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, you warm up. You're warming up now, right? So it wish to be in one another's sight so long as this life lasts and in the future life. So you can see this couple, the husband and the wife, are really deep enough, or they really respect each other. And so they have never wrong. They have never done anything wrong to the other half. So they wanted the wise one, the Buddha, to actually tell them how can they be in one another's sight. That means do not leave the other part, well, this lifetime or next lifetime. And the Buddha replied, the Buddha actually replied in a very wise way. He said, if householder, in order to be in one another's sight so long as this life lasts and into the future life, one should have what? The first is one should have faith, the same faith. So the same faith, that means the same belief system, or, sorry. The same faith, that means the same belief system, or if I believe in karma, then my husband should have the same belief. Or if I believe in whatever that you want to believe in, and you think, for example, I believe that music can be very entertaining, and then the wife should be having the same kind of belief, of having the same kind of faith. If they do not have the same kind of faith, what would happen? Anybody? What would happen if they do not have the same kind of faith? They disagree, struggle, they have conflicts, they argue, right? And then with arguments, disagreement, there will come disharmony, right? Then how can you keep one another in sight, right? That will be a very hateful sight, right? Not a loving sight, right? So they should have the same faith. That means the belief system. It not necessarily means religious belief system, but just belief system. But of course, in here, I think the Buddha would really mean a belief system, so like a religious faith, like a spiritual faith, I should say, a spirituality. Okay, so, and then the same moral discipline, the same moral discipline. So why would you think that same moral discipline is actually conducive for a couple in order to have one another's insight for this life and for next life? Okay, so, and then the same generosity, the same generosity. So generosity, that means giving. Why would having the same generosity is very important? Very important. The same generosity is very important. Generosity not necessarily. No, generosity is not necessarily about money. Generosity could be anything. You can be generous in giving support, your spiritual support. You can be generous in giving material stuff. You can be generous in giving money. You can be generous in
doing the voluntary service.
volunteering, right? So if your better half is not agreeing about your generosity of going to volunteer, then they the other part we probably start to complain about not being home all the time, and you not cooking dinner for them, and you not looking after the children, and you not doing all the dishes, and you not doing all the laundry, and you not cutting all the grass. Those are endless reasons to actually cause an uproar at home, cause disharmony again. This is also about value. Yeah, it's about value, our value system. So the Buddha is actually very wise to actually point out all these. But the next one is actually even wiser, is having the same wisdom. Huh? This is so difficult to have the same wisdom, even though as a husband and wife, if they have to have the same wisdom, they must have been like twins, more than twins, right? More than twins, even twins, they cannot have the same karma, and having the different karma, that means you have a different time of ripening wisdom, right? So the Buddha replied to, in order to keep one sight so long as this life lasts and into the future life, you need to be sync in these four aspects. And do you think it is actually really possible? Huh? Possible? Really? I think even though you are not thinking this possible, you will still be in sight with each other because your karma, right? Right? So, but the Buddha was, I think he actually pointed this out because he wanted the couple to really take on the spiritual path. Because when the couple take on the spiritual path and cultivating these good qualities, eventually this couple will realize that they don't need to keep each other in sight. Right? Did you hear what I said? No. Eventually they won't have to keep each other in sight. Okay. So the Buddha said, because when they become both faithful and generous, self-restraint of righteous being, they come together as husband and wife, full of love for each other. And because of that, they full of love for each other, then they do not have this negative karma for them or unwholesome karma for each other. And the Buddha said that many blessings will come their way. They dwell together in happiness. The enemies are left dejected when both are equal in virtue. So this is what actually the Buddha have taught these couple, Nakulapita and Nakulamala. Okay, and you could actually use them. You could actually use them to what? To actually to teach yourself. To teach yourself how you can improve as being a wife or as being a husband, or how your relationship as a couple can actually improve upon the teachings of the Buddha. Okay. And the Buddha said, having lived by Dharma in this world, the same in virtue and observance, they rejoice after death in the Deva world. And in the Deva world, you you see your hubby or you see your wife, it's just another Deva. The Devas will love each other anyway, right? They like each other anyway, so you don't have to keep in sight. You don't have to keep in sight. So enjoying abundant happiness because you have actually cultivated those wonderful virtues and restraint and righteous living this lifetime, because both of you have developed that. So when this body actually become useless, then you will be reborn in the Deva world. And in the diva world, everybody is inside. Because why? Because those people are having the similar qualities, right? If you don't have those qualities, you would not be reborn as the diva, right? And so they're always in sight. But there's some trick in there. Is whatever karmic connection that you have with the other half, it's not depleted yet, if not exhausted yet. One lifetime, you may come back to this earth existence as human being, and you may become husband and wife again, or change role, wife and husband again, you know, and to really to live another life, probably rejoicing in each other existence. I want to tell you a story. One of my best friends, or two of my best friends, they were a couple. I've known them since the early 80s. No, late 70s. And so maybe 10 years ago, something like that, 10 years ago, the man friends, he just turned 60. Oh, no, less than 10 years. He's the same age as me, I think. Maybe a little bit older than me. But anyway, he just turned 60, and he was going to not retire, but retire from the job, but being, hired again as a contract. So both of them work at the University Hospital in Hong Kong. Anyway, and then he was diagnosed to have terminal cancer. So I happened to be one of their best friends, and they confided in me a lot. And so I actually walked with them along the path, supported them and guided them how to actually bring this out to the family, and how to actually arrange everything for themselves. But anyway, make the story short, at the time of his death, I was there. Happened that I was in Hong Kong. So that day in the afternoon, his mother was old, almost 90 years old. So his mother came to actually visit him. And I told his mother, I said, to say goodbye to him. So his mother actually listened to me and went to the bed and held his hand and told him, "You are such a good son. You have been such a wonderful son, a brother, and a friend to so many people. So I am saying goodbye to you now." So the mother, I asked her to go home at around 5 o'clock. He was a few times almost ready to go, but he did not go. So around 7:30 or so, the doctor came, and doctor said, "Oh, is there somebody going to stay with him tonight?" So that's meaning better to have somebody staying there. He's dying. Okay. I said, and then his wife said, "Yes." So I looked at him, and his wife was standing there. I looked at him. Why wouldn't he let go? Cling! All of a sudden, it just came to my mind. I said, "Huh." I said, "Okay." I went to closer to his bed, closer to the head of the bed, and I asked his wife to come. So she said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "I just wanted you to hold his hand." So they held hands, and I said to them, I said, "Okay, you both are they are really good husband and wife. They are really good couple." I said, "You have been married for over, I think, 25 years at that time." I've known you for so long. And okay, whatever karma that you have not exhausted as a wife and husband this lifetime, may you meet each other again in next life and be husband and wife again. Okay. And his eyes just open up. He was almost like in the comatose, but his eyes just open up and longing to look at his wife. And I said, okay. Then I said to him, I said, yeah, you're okay. And I said, are you okay? She said, oh, then you have to like court me, right? Like court me, like a courtship, right? You have to court me. Like you did this lifetime. Is that a promise? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, then you hold your hands together. They held hands for a few minutes. I said, then I go. After that few minutes, he just passed. He just passed on, just very peacefully. So this is the kind of relationship that they had. And I don't know, his wife is still around, so but he's somewhere. So, but you know, that kind of connections is so strong that when all you can say that this is a very strong attachment that one wouldn't want to let go. Okay, so you can choose. It's up to you. All right. So the second chapter, the second part of this tonight's reading is 7 kinds of wives. This is very interesting. I always love this part when I come to this. 7 kinds of wives. And Sujata, she is the Anathapindika's daughter-in-law. You know who is Anathapindika's, right? 其樹給孤獨園啊，孤獨長者嗬 ，Anathapindika，孤獨長者嘅新抱啊。So Anathapindika's daughter-in-law, Sujata, and one day the Anathapindika was very, very generous. He always invited the Buddha to come to receive alms and offerings. So one day the Buddha was in Anathapindika's house and he said, what's wrong with this place? Such an uproar, such a rowdy place. Something like a fish market. And the Pindika said, oh, it was my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law do not have any respect for the in-laws, for the mother-in-law or father-in-law or even her husband. And she doesn't even have respect for you, Buddha. And the Buddha said, oh, is that right? Hey, okay. So the Buddha said, Sujata, call her name. But Sujata, despite that, she did not have respect for the in-laws and the husband and the Buddha. But when the Buddha called her, she actually came. She actually came and she said, Buddha, yes, Venerable Sir. And Buddha said, Sujata, there are these 7 kinds of wives, Sujata. Which one are you? And Sujata said, oh. So the Buddha explained to her 7 kinds of wife. Which 7? The first one is like a slayer. The second one is like a thief. The third one like a tyrant. The fourth one like a mother. 5th is like a sister. 7 like a friend. And the last one like a handmaid. And Sujata said, I don't understand this. Could you please explain a little bit? So the Buddha said, okay, listen, I will explain. A slayer, he said, always this person, this wife, always have a very hateful mind and very cold and very heartless. There is no heart. And there is a craving for others rather than her own husband. So this is somebody you call a slayer. And the most of all, what does she do? She tries to kill the one who bought her. So who bought this one? Actually, in those days, in the old days, marriage is like a business, right? So the girl have to put up a big dowry. The bigger the dowry, the most prestigious status you will have. Then the man's family will respect you a little bit more with a bigger dowry. So, so it's considered the man is the ownership, owns the woman. Okay. So it said, who seeks to kill the one who bought her? That means the husband. Try to kill the husband. So a woman, a wife, one kind of wife's like a slayer. And the other kind is like a thief. With her, when her husband acquires wealth by his craft or trade or farm work, she tries to filch a little for herself. That means to steal. To steal. You can see when her husband acquires wealth by his craft or trade or farm work, that means her husband is actually hardworking, diligent, but yet the wife tries to steal. It's like a thief. Okay? And then the next one is like a what? Like a tyrant. A tyrant, that means a slothful glutton that this is the funny word. I don't understand what kind of word this is. I need to look it up. Do you understand what this is? Yeah, glutton. Oh, glutton, not gluten. Glutton, okay. So what does it mean? What? Greedy. Yeah. And what else? Eating all the time. Yeah. Like to eat all the time. 為食啊，饞嘴啊，我喺中國叫做 So the slothful, that means very lazy, glutton, like bent on idling, that means sitting there what? Doing nothing, yeah. Like what you do now at home. Harsh, fierce, rough in speech, yeah. And bullies her own supporter. Who is her own supporter? Huh? Husband, yeah. She bullies her rather than he bullies her. 老虎啦 tigress, tigress wife. So this is like a tyrant, huh? And then like a mother, always helpful and kind, and guards her husband like a mother to her son. So everything is protective, like a mother, and carefully protects the wealth he earns. So this is like a mother. Yeah? And then what? Like a sister, holds her husband in high regard. Oh, look up to the husband. Wow, my big brother there, right? And humbly submits to her husband's will. Somebody is smiling.
Sorry.
She's not smiling at you, I think. It's so funny. I think this chapter is so funny. And then, oops, sorry. Is that all, sister? Yes, that's all. Yeah, okay. And then like a friend. Like a friend. A friend like rejoices at her husband's side. So when you see your friend coming, you say, wow, wonderful, that's your husband rather than your friend. And well-raised, virtuous, devoted. Okay, and such a wife is called a friend. Okay, so that means the woman is well-raised, and she is virtuous, and she's devoted to the family, devoted to the husband, devoted to the children, well raised by the wife's family, well raised woman, and having good virtues. So like a handmaid, and a handmaid is sort of like a slave in the old days. I think in the commentary it says a female slave, but the Bhikkhu Bodhi said, fortunately in Buddhist society this recommendation has not been taken very seriously, and the first three models of the ideal wife have prevailed. So this actually means a woman slave, but I don't think the Buddha actually meant a slave, because the Buddha doesn't have the caste system in his mind. Otherwise, he will not receive some lower caste into the monastics, into the Sangha, right? So I think the Buddha actually regard this handmaid like what should I say? Like a guardian angel. Like a what are you doing? Like a protector to the family, rather than, or anybody who is willing to give anything to the family, to give the support no matter what. Okay, so the handmaid is one without anger and afraid of punishment, because men in the old days, not even in the old days, even nowadays, there is a lot of beating up women in that culture. So this handmaid is actually very afraid of punishment, so she will try to avoid making mistakes, and bears with her husband free of hate. So that means no hate, no anger, and humbly submits to her husband's will. So it sounds like a slave here. It does sound like a slave, right? And but Sujita, at the end, she said, "Beginning today, Venerable Sir, you should consider me a wife who is like a handmaid." And this is actually very interesting. Why would Sujita actually change from being such a non-respecting person, or unrespecting, or in what do you say, non-respecting or unrespecting or not disrespectful woman to become a handmaid, to become a wife like a handmaid? What do you think? So letting go of the ego and submitting herself to her husband's will. It's actually very difficult. It's actually very difficult. And the Buddha said, okay, the Buddha said, I'm sorry, this is so funny. With the bodies break up, these first three types of wives will reborn deep in hell. Even though they are not wives, they will still be reborn deep in hell, right? Even if they are not the wives, if people behave like a slayer, like a thief, like a tyrant, will be reborn in hell anyway. But because this lesson, this teaching is actually directed to householder couples, that's why the Buddha said, with the bodies break up, these three kinds of wives will be reborn deep in hell. But these four kinds of wives will go to heaven. Isn't that great? You will go to heaven, just be like this, like a mother, like a sister, like a friend, like a handmaid. So giving up ego is not bad. Being a little bit submissive is really not too bad. Why we won't submit? Why we won't submit? Why we cannot be like a mother? Why we cannot be like a sister? Why we cannot be like a friend?
Because we're always right.
Yes, because we are always right and the other part is always wrong. I think this applies to actually everybody, not just to husband and wife. But this is a good teaching for husband and wives. Because why? Family starts from a couple, right? A husband and wife. And children learn from the mother and the father. Societies are made up of families, right? Society are not made up of monks and nuns. Society are made up of families. And we are just rare species, right? And you folks actually made up the bigger part of society. So that's why it's actually very, very crucial for families and for husband and wives to be living in harmony. Okay, so Buddha asked Sujata, what kind of wives are you? And Sujata said, from today onwards, please consider me as the wife like a handmaid. So, question time. Reflections. You know what question I'm going to ask you. Laurie threw her hands up. Reflections. How is your relationship with the better half or worse half? No hands. Wow, this is very pessimistic. This is very sad. Well, at least I see some smile. Oh, Maria wants to talk. Maria, top first four.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Got you.
I just wanted to say that I'm not answering because my husband could hear me.
All right. No, you should answer so that he can hear you. Because you're going to praise him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You should, Maria, you should actually talk louder.
No, I'll wake up my bird.
Oh, you wake
He's been quiet the
He's been quiet the whole
whole time.
time.
He's locked himself into another room so he can't hear me.
Okay, all right. So
He is a very good man. I've been very fortunate.
that's good. You're grateful to have such a husband, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Good. Anybody else? Chicken, yeah. Oh, Ivy. There you go, Ivy. There you go.
Yep.
Ivy.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah, getting better and better. Oh, good. So you like your husband more and more, right? Oh, Henry said yes. So see you tonight. Otherwise, you sleep in the couch, on the couch. Okay. Anybody else volunteer an answer? Or, okay, Chen Sam, Catherine Chen from San Francisco. Wow, it's great. I like this Zoom thing. Good. Catherine, go ahead.
It's a worse half for some 20-something years, but now I'm trying to turn it into
A better half.
entanglement. Now it's hard to be all of a sudden, but then hopefully, oh no leg slide. But
But
understanding the worst half,
yeah,
if carry on,
yeah,
you just carry on to the next life, right?
yes.
No entanglement. So trying to
Untangle.
untangle it a little bit,
Good.
gradually.
Yeah, good. Just keep trying, all right? Good. Okay. All right, we'll go to the next. Well, you know, even the husband can say something, all right? It's not just the woman saying things, the husband can say something. If the husband is there, all right? So 7 kinds of wives. What kind are you? Okay. Anybody is brave enough to be the first one to answer these questions? Lori, wow. Okay. Unmute your big sister.
Okay, big sister. She's good.
There you go, big sister.
Okay, so yes, I'm very brave. Sometimes I'm the sister, and sometimes I'm the mother, and sometimes I'm the friend. It depends on the day.
It does.
But I'm always
It-
trying to be the bottom 3.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I think it's always like a mixture, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But of course, as you said, you try to behave like the bottom 3 or 4 rather than the first 3. And I'm sure nobody on this screen would like to be a slayer and a thief. I don't think any of you would be one. But sometimes our thoughts could be a slayer. Our thoughts could be a slayer, but hopefully we could stop those thoughts manifesting themselves into actions and turn ourselves into becoming a slayer, right? So I think it's always like a mixture of friend, sister, mother, and a handmaid. And you know, as long as we keep walking towards that direction, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But whether you want to see the sight of that better half, so that's another question. Okay, that's another practice. But this life, at least if you are a wife, at least try to put yourself into the the bottom 4th category. All right, and about whether you will be reunited. So it's up to your volition and up to your practice too. All right? All right, then we will dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and help themselves to liberate from their own difficulties, sufferings, dissatisfactions, unhappiness, and be ultimately, truly happy, peaceful, and free. Okay, good night, everybody.